In this video, I'm going to show you how to create and launch an amazing website for your business, even if you've never done it before. It's unbelievably easy to do when you use this method, and in the end, you'll have a real WordPress website like this, or any of these that fits your business to a T. And then after that, I'm going to show you how you can actually turn this new website into an automated client generation machine for your business. So what's the best way to easily build a new website for your business without needing to know any code or have a design degree? It's not a web builder like Wix or Squarespace, and it's not even buying a theme and customizing it, which is actually a lot harder than they make it seem. The better way, my absolute favorite way, uses a free drag and drop page building plugin that you just click to activate right inside of WordPress called Elementor. It lets you start with any of these pre-made site kits that you just add your own content and visuals to, or you can start completely from scratch if you want. And by the end of this video, you're gonna know how to use it well enough to create any page you'll ever need, which is pretty powerful when running a business. So first things first, in order to get any kind of website off the ground, you need a domain name and a simple, cheap hosting plan. And if you don't know, your domain's just the address that you type in the little bar like google.com or nike.com. And hosting is pretty much just a server or a computer that's always turned on that stores all your data, pages, images, and text. Now, I've worked out a pretty great deal for you with my favorite web hosting platform, Bluehost. So if you click the link below in the description or just go to wesmcdowell.com/hosting, you'll get about 70% off and only pay $2.95 a month. And you're gonna get a free domain name out of it too. So click below and we can get started. Okay, and here's what that page looks like once you follow my link, and you'll see right away you're getting $2.95 a month instead of $9.99 a month. Pretty good deal. So just click on Get Started Now, and then from there, you just choose your plan. I recommend Basic. I think that's more than enough for almost all of you. So I'm just going to click on Select. And here's where you choose if you have a new domain you want to buy or if you have one that you want to import over. So I'm going to assume we're creating a new domain. So you're just going to type in what you want and then choose your extension. I recommend .com. It's just what most people are familiar with. And then you'll just see if it's available by clicking on Next. All right, so that one is available. If not, you're just gonna go back and try it again. You can also do a .net or something like that. So you're just gonna fill in all of this information and choose your package. And you actually do get the best deal when you just choose 12 month for some reason. So I'm gonna go with that. And I'm gonna uncheck all of these, except for I do recommend keeping domain privacy and protection. If you don't do that, you're likely to get some spam calls and spam emails. You don't want that. So then you just put in your credit card information and click on these and then click on Submit. And then it's gonna walk you through extra steps until you get to your WordPress dashboard, which is going to look a little something like this. If it looks different, it might be on kind of the Bluehost tab like this. But yeah, this is what the back end of WordPress looks like. So before we get started building though, I do want to show you what my next step generally is when I'm creating a new website. And that's finding a little bit of inspiration for, design, colors, that kind of thing. It just helps having a picture in your head. So I'm going to go to this website called themeforest.net. And this is just a marketplace of really nice looking WordPress themes. And in case you're wondering why we're not just gonna go with a theme that we're gonna buy from here, it's because they're actually pretty hard to work with, believe it or not. I never have found great success in doing it that way. I really like the method I'm gonna show you here better. So just go under WordPress and you can go either corporate or creative. I'm just gonna click on corporate, assuming this is for a business. And from here, you're just gonna see like what catches your eye. You can click around on a lot of these, just hit live preview. And you're gonna have to click around a little bit to just kind of find what it is you're looking for. Maybe set aside a half hour to an hour just to find something good. I've already found this one. So I think this is a nice, clean starting point. Really basic, but it's a nice looking, really professional site. So this is gonna be our inspiration point. You can choose whatever inspiration you want. Remember, all we're really doing is we're kind of looking to it for layouts, colors, fonts, that kind of thing. So yours may look completely different than this, and that's okay. So once we're back inside of your WordPress dashboard, what we need to do now is add the page building plugin called Elementor that's going to allow us to do what we need to do. So we're going to go down to plugins, add new, And then under search plugins, I'm just going to type in Elementor. And this is the one we want right here, and I'm going to click on Install Now. It's totally free to use. There is a pro version, but we're not going to be using that today. We're just going to do everything completely free. Once it's installed, just click on Activate. And then it just wants you to set up a free account. So just click on that. It'll walk you through a few steps. I already have an account, so I'm just going to go through that. Okay, once you've done that, we're just going to click on Continue with Hello Theme. That's the one we need to get started. And here's where you would just type in your business name. And next. Now you can add your logo now, but we're just going to do that later. I'm going to click on Skip. And now this is when it's asking us if we want to start completely from scratch or if we want to start with a template. I'm going to show you how to do this because it's a lot easier, it's a lot cleaner. So I'm just going to click on that in the right column. Now we have a ton of options here, and you will notice a lot of them are designated as Pro. That means that you have to have the Pro version of Elementor to be able to use it. But there still are a lot of great free ones as well. I actually really like starting with these wireframes, which just means it's very simple. There's no real design going on yet. I think that's the way to go, especially since we're coming to this with our own design inspiration. So I'm going to go over to wireframe, and that's going to narrow it down for us. And really what you're looking for here is just the closest layout to what you need. You know, do you want an image over on the right and text on the left, or do you want a full width image in the background? Lots of different ways you can go. I'm going to choose right here, Local Services Wireframe 3. So I'm just going to click on it, and you can view the demo if you want. You can see all the pages that are included. And I think right here, that's a pretty good match for this layout right here. So I think that's a good one to go with. So I'm going to click on Apply Kit and then Apply All. Okay, then you have to click Enable. Now what this is doing, it's importing all those pages, which you can rename if you want. You don't have to keep the pages as is. I'll show you how to do that a little bit later, but it may just take a few minutes for everything to upload, and I'll be right back when it's done. Okay, so it's now live. So we're just gonna click down here on See It Live. Okay, so this is what it looks like before we've done any of our customization. We have all of these different sections. So the way we're gonna edit this, it's super easy. We're just gonna go up to Edit with Elementor. Here's what it looks like inside the Elementor dashboard. You've got two distinct sections here, right? You've got over here on the right, this is the staging area. This is basically a preview of what the entire page is gonna look like. And then on the left, this is the sidebar where we have all of the different widgets and editing controls. So each web page within Elementor is made up of sections. So this and everything that's surrounded by this blue outline, this is a section. Then this is another section. This is another section. And within sections, we have columns. This is a column, and then this is a column. And you'll know that based on this little gray square up in the upper left corner. Then within columns, we have widgets. This is a headline widget. This is a dividing line. This is a button widget. And the way it generally works is, if you click on this little grid, here's all the widgets. Here's an image, for instance. You can drag a widget onto the screen, and then you customize it back over here. And if you ever want to undo anything, just go down to this little history icon, and then you can kind of go back in time, either one step back or all the way back to the beginning. Okay, so the best way I know how to show you how to use this is basically just by recreating what we found in our example website. And it already pretty closely matches in layout what we already have. We have a headline, some text, a button, and then an image over on the right. So let's start with this headline. So I'm going to click it right here. And to change it, you just click right here. And then you would type in whatever you want your new headline to be. Now I'd say this color already pretty closely matches the color we have here, but we might want to change the font and we might want to change the size of it to more closely match. So to do that, we have to go up to Style, and then Text Color. You can change it to anything you want right here. So let's say you had a red kind of color scheme going on that you're trying to go for. You would just try to find your color and click on whichever one you want. But I'm just going to go back to what it was. Now to change the font and the size, amongst a few other things, you're going to go to Typography. And under Family, that's what they call font. So I don't know why they say family rather than font, but I'm going to type in one right here that I think is going to be a really good match for what we had. And by the way, you have access to literally thousands of Google fonts here. It can be overwhelming, but just try to find one that fits your branding. And then under size, you can drag it to where it's exactly the size you want it to be. Put it up to 60, and then under weight, this is where you can control how light or how heavy it is. So if we did something bolder, it would look more like that. Now, not all fonts are gonna have all of these options in terms of weight. Some are just gonna have bold and normal, but it really depends on the font itself. And then for this short description, you would just click on that and you would type in whatever you want that text to be. Then you need to go to style and style it in the same way. So let's say we wanna make this text the same color as this text. I'll just click on this and I'll go up to the little globe icon and I see that it's designated as primary. So that color is already in there in the system. So I'll just go here, then click on the text color again, and I'll choose primary, darkens it up slightly. And now let's talk about our button. So if we're trying to match what we have here, notice how it's more square, and it's this darker color with white text in the middle. So let's see if we can recreate that. So we would just click on the button, and of course under text, you'll just type in whatever you want that button to say. Maybe schedule a consultation. Now let's style it up to match. So we're gonna go up to style, of course, and then text color, it's already white. So we're already good to go. If we wanted to change it, we would just click in here and choose whatever color we want, but we don't need to do that. And now for background type, you can do a gradient background if you want. I'm just gonna keep it simple. We're gonna keep it like the example. Then color, and I'm just gonna choose primary because I think that's a pretty good match. But again, you can choose any color you want. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to primary. Then how do we now, first of all, I can see there's a little bit of a blue border going on here. If we don't want that, you can see down here, border type solid. I'm just gonna click on none. But if you wanted to have one, and then you can change the width of it, you can make it as big or small as you want to. But I'm just gonna go back to none. And then under border radius, that's what controls how rounded these corners are. So they're set to 100 pixels. I'm just gonna zero that out. And all these values are connected. If you wanted to unconnect them, you would just click on this little chain icon. And let's check it out and see. This text looks slightly bolder, so let's just kind of see how we can do that. We'll click on the button. Then typography is where we would change things like font weight. So I'm gonna click there. I'm actually gonna choose the same font that I chose for our headline. And under weight, let's make it a little bit heavier, maybe 600. Cool, I think that is a very good match for what we have there. So we still have a few things to do, right? We still have to change the background color to this more kind of beige color, and we need to add in our image over on the right. So how do we do those things? First of all, I'm going to show you how to, if we didn't want this line here, any widget that's here that you don't want, just right click on it and then go down to delete and it's gone. So let's start by changing the background color. So we'll just choose this entire section by just clicking right here on this little grid, and then we'll go to style. And for background type, you've got some options. So there's classic, which is just a color or an image. You've got gradient, you can choose 2 different colors. You can even put a video or a slideshow back there, but we're gonna start simple. We're just gonna go classic, and then color, we're just gonna click right here. And from here, you can choose any color you want. I've already chosen the color that matches what we have over here. So yeah, if you have a color code, you can just type it right in there. And then here's something you need to know. If you think you want to reuse that color elsewhere, it's really easy. Just click on the plus icon and it lets you create that color. You can name it if you want to. Might just call it background beige. Then we can use it for later. So in terms of putting our image over here, I've got one that kind of matches this. One thing we need to know here about this. So what's happening here, this is a background image attached to this column. So if we click on the column and we go to style under background type, it has this image here. So I'm just going to click on choose image. If we were to drag our image over here as a background, I'm going to click on insert media. That's not going to work very well. So what we actually want to do in this case is we want to click on the trash can icon. We want to get rid of that background image. We don't need it. we're gonna go instead up to the widgets. We're gonna drag this image widget into this column. That's gonna give us more control over it. So we're just gonna click on the image, and then over here, it's gonna let us choose it. So click on choose image, and we've already dragged it in. So I'm just gonna click on it and then insert media. And we can see it's really big. So how do we fix that? We'll just click on the image, go to style, and then under width, we can just start dragging it around until it's about the right size that we need it to be. I feel like that looks pretty good size-wise. Now let's take a little preview of what this is gonna look like. So if you wanna see it without the sidebar over here in your way, just click on this little triangle to kind of collapse that view and you get a clear picture of what it looks like. So let's compare this to our inspiration right now. So as you can see, everything's a little tighter in here. Our example, everything's kind of like far off to the edges. I don't really think that looks great. So a few things we're gonna do here. Let's open that back up. Let's choose the section, and then under layout, content width is what we want. So right now it's kind of set to full width. That's why everything's so spread out. But if we went to boxed, now we can more closely control how big of a space this takes up. So I feel like that is looking better. And then I might make this guy slightly larger here. I think that's looking pretty good. Now, if it doesn't really bother me that it's aligned on the bottom here, it's not really aligned like that in this version. So if you wanted to make this more centered, all we need to do is we need to select this section and we need to go to advanced. Don't let that worry you, it's okay. And we're gonna change the padding. So padding refers to the interior space of the borders of a section, right? So if we wanted this to have more of a space between the edge and where this guy starts, we need padding to get us there. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put this on percentage. I kind of like doing it that way better. So this is gonna give us it's gonna be a percentage of the overall browser window. So if we just bump it up slightly, 2, 3, 4%, something like that. That's looking pretty good. Now, just to get things kind of vertically centered, there's a few things we need to do. First of all, looks like there's a little blank widget up here. It's called a spacer. That was just in there from before. So I'm gonna right click, delete. That gets rid of that. And actually, I feel like that solves just about all of our problems. So let's take a look at ours next to the inspiration. It's pretty close, right? And we'll get up to the header in a bit. We'll replace this with a logo. Don't worry, it's not gonna stay like this. But let's change the rest of the page to how we want it. I'll show you what to do. So if we're taking this page for our inspiration for the rest of it, just pay attention to font sizes and colors and all that kind of stuff. So I'm just going to do what I can to make our page feel a little closer to that. So first of all, I'm gonna choose this heading, and I just think the text is too big. So we could change it. This could be any section we wanted it to be. Doesn't have to be called about our company. It could be called our services or whatever you want. And you just type that in right here. But let's go to style because we're changing the size. Under typography, I will change this to Montserrat. That's the font we've been using. And I will make it slightly smaller. Something about like that is good, 48. Okay, now we have these placeholder images. So we can put our own images in here, right? Super easy to do, just click on the first one and then choose image. And then you would just drag whatever image you've chosen onto the stage here. And then click on insert media. There it is. And then we'll do this one. The middle one's a little different. I'll show you why when we get there. So we'll click that image and then choose image and drag it over. Okay, so now this one actually is a background image. Remember how we got rid of the background image earlier? So these work slightly differently. So basically, if you're ever working and you click on it and you're not seeing an image popping up here, that's why. So we're gonna click on the column, then go to style, and see we have a background image. So I'm gonna choose it, and we'll just drag our last image over, insert. All right. Looking pretty good. Then if we wanted to change this text, we would just click on it and just type in whatever you want. You can, bold certain key phrases if you want to. You can add links if you want, just by clicking here and then specifying the URL. And of course, we want to change this button to match our other button. So we could click on it and do all that styling, or we can do something a little easier. I'm actually just gonna right click on it, copy, and then right click, paste style. And then that's done all the work for us. Okay, so I also think this text is too big. So again, rather than restyling it manually, I'm just gonna go up to where we've already done that. Right click, copy, right click, paste style. Okay, so now here's a good opportunity to show you something. So basically this particular layout came with 4 columns for services, right? Let's say you don't have 4, maybe you only have 3, maybe you have 5. If you wanted to add another one, you would choose the column, right click, duplicate, and then you can add another one. But I'm actually gonna do the opposite. I'm gonna right click, delete this one, and I'm gonna right click, delete this one, so we're left with 3 services instead of 4. Just to show you how versatile all this really is. Now, what we have here with these 3 services, these are what I call a compound widget, because if you click on it, you control the image, the headline, and the description all in one place. So let's just start by choosing our image. We'll click right there. I'll drag my image on over. And then you would change the name of the service right here, and you would change the description right here. And I'm just gonna do the same for the other 2. Okay, and then each of these has a link to that page. So you just click on each one, and then you would just, type in whatever page that is supposed to be linking to right here. Okay, so what is next? We have another section here, and this one has a slideshow widget in it. So if you click that, you basically can drag, as many photos as you want here, and they would just cycle through. And you would do that by clicking on the pencil and then add to gallery, and then you just choose all the photos you want. But we're not gonna do that. I'm gonna show you another way that this can be really versatile. So let's say we don't have a need for a slideshow here, okay? I'm just gonna right click, delete, but maybe we wanna add something different. Maybe we wanna add a map, or how about a video? You just click and drag the video widget right over. And the way this works is it lets you link to a video that you've already uploaded to either YouTube, Vimeo, or Dailymotion. Self-hosted is an option. I never recommend that. That means you're uploading the video to your own website. That's just a big drag on your bandwidth, and you could get charged more for that. Not to mention, it'll be really slow. So I recommend uploading your video to YouTube because it's just really good for SEO, because Google owns YouTube. So you upload it there, then you just grab the URL of that video and you paste it right in here. And then to make it cleaner, I like to get rid of this little thing. So I'm just gonna, under player controls, I'm gonna click on hide. But one thing I'm noticing is there's a lot of white in the background here, right? There's a lot of white, but in our inspiration site, we're seeing a lot of this kind of tan color, and sections kind of like change color as you go down a little bit. So I'm gonna bring a little bit of that styling in. I'm just gonna make this background our beige color, really easy to do. Just click the section, go to style, background type, classic, remember, and we've already saved that color. So if you didn't, you just choose whatever color you want. But if you've saved it, just click the globe and then find where you saved it to. And I'm seeing how this is not quite aligned, right? It would look a lot nicer if everything was aligned in the center. The way we do that is we still have the section chosen. We'll go to layout, and then under vertical align, we'll choose middle. And that's all you gotta do. So now we just wanna make our text smaller to match what we already have. We're gonna change the color of this text and of course our button. So let's grab our style here, right click copy, right click paste style. But maybe we went too far because now it's centered. I think it's gonna look better left justified with this text. So the way we fix that, under content, alignment, just choose left. Then we'll choose this text. Under style, I'm going to change the color to primary, and of course our button. So I'm going to grab it, right click copy, right click paste style, and I think it's looking pretty good. Oh, except we want a little bit more padding in this section, right? So if you remember padding, what we did for that, we're just going to choose the section, advanced, under padding. I'm going to type in 4 on the top, and 4 on the bottom. That's 4% of the browser. And let's take a look at that. I think that looks a lot cleaner. Okay, so next section, we have a nice benefits area. And I want to take some inspiration from this site, just kind of have a little boxy layout like this, bring in those colors. So what I want to do first is give this column a background color, just to kind of make it into a box. So I'm going to choose the column, go up to Style, Background Type, then I'm going to choose our beige background. Then I'm going to bump this text over, because right now it's really close to the edge and it kind of makes it look amateur. So go to Advanced. So for padding, and again, let's choose the %. And I'm just going to bump it up to whatever looks good, kind of like that. And of course, we can change the title right here. And now we've got these little icon boxes. So I'm going to show you how to use those. They're really cool. You can actually choose any icon they have. So I'm going to choose the first one. And we'll go over to Icon Library. And they've got several different styles. And you'll basically just want to choose something that's a good visual metaphor for whatever the benefit is. So I'll choose a credit card. Maybe it's about easy payments. I don't know. And then once you've chosen your icon, you can just change the name of the benefit. And of course the description as well. But what about the styling, right? So we'll go up to Style, of course. And primary color is the color of the icon itself. Secondary color is the background color. So for primary color, I'm just going to choose primary. We'll make it easy. And then secondary color, I'm going to go ahead and choose our background beige. And I'll just quickly go ahead and choose different icons for the rest of these. Then from there, you just want to style them the same way. So again, we don't have to do it manually. I'm just going to right-click Copy, then right-click Paste Style. Again, and one more time. Okay, so next we have a testimonial section. So I actually want to break out of this a little bit and show you how to do a new section, because there's bound to be places where you don't just want to use what they've given you. There's a few things you can do here. So first I want to show you can reorder sections. So let's say you wanted this to come after this section. All you got to do is click and drag to the right place where you want it. So now we've reordered those two sections. So I'm just going to Command Z and go back. But let's say that you don't like this testimonial treatment, right? We want to more closely follow the inspiration that we've got on our inspiration site, for instance. It's just one and the text is really big and it has the photo and all that good stuff. So how do we do that? There's a few different things we can do. First of all, I'm going to delete this section. So just click on the X. If you ever need to delete one, that's how you do it. Then if you want to add a new section, just click on the plus icon. You've got a few options here. The first option is click on Folder and then Blocks. And now you've got all these blocks you can choose between that you can customize. And you know how to do that because that's what we've been doing this entire time, is customizing little sections. But I want to show you how you can actually do it on your own, because there's bound to be times when you need to create something that they don't have for you. So click on Add Section. I'm just going to click on the plus icon. From here, we can choose how many columns that we want our new section to be. So looking at our inspiration, it just seems to be a single column. So I'm going to click on one, and I'm going to go up to Widgets, and I'm just going to search for testimonial. And that is a compound widget. So I'm just going to click and drag that testimonial block right into our section. And obviously we have a lot of work to do here. So first of all, just to make everything cleaner, I'm going to give this some padding right away. Choose the section, go to Advanced. Remember, padding is here. I'm going to choose %, and I'm just going to keep going until it looks good, like it's got some breathing room to it. But now we need to style this, right? Because this text is big and the name and the image are kind of small underneath it. So how do we achieve that? Let's just click on this widget. It's a compound widget, remember? And obviously you would change the text over here. I'll just give it some quotation marks for now. Then you would choose the person's image. It's always nice to have an image of somebody when you're doing a testimonial. It just kind of gives it more credibility. And of course you would just change the name right here, and then the title. It could be their job title, it could be the city they live in, it could even be 5-star emojis. Maybe that's what I'll do here. Let's do 5 stars. Okay, so we have all of our content in here. Now we have work to do on styling it. So we'll go up to Style. So the first thing we need to do is make the content, right, the actual testimonial itself, a lot bigger than it is. So under Content, we'll go to Typography, and we will choose Montserrat, which is what we've been using. We will bump the size up, because again, it's a lot bigger there. So maybe not quite that big, maybe like that, and then weight. Let's see what that looks like. Pretty good. And then for the name, okay, that's just pretty small and basic. So we will go to Name. We've already got the right text color, and then Typography. We'll change the font, and then we'll bring the size way down to about there. And then for title, remember that's what we did, these emojis. So I'm just gonna go to Typography. The font isn't important because it's just they're emojis. So just something like so. And if we wanted to be really picky, this is all left justified. So let's do that. So we have to go to Content and then Alignment left. And then the only other thing to do is just make this a whole lot less wide, because up here, it's a pretty narrow treatment. So we'll just choose the section, layout, width, and we will just kind of make it however we want it to be, something like that. Okay, moving on, we have our last section here. So I'm gonna take my inspiration from this section right here. I think something like this would look kind of cool, where it has kind of a split background color and then a box and then an image. So let's see how we can do that. All right, so I'm gonna choose the entire section. The first thing I wanna do is actually do that kind of split color background here. So I'm gonna go over to Style, and under Background Type, I'm gonna choose Gradient this time, okay? Stick with me here. So I'm gonna choose 2 colors. I'm gonna choose our primary color, that navy color, and our second color, I'm going to choose our background beige. Now right away, it looks pretty bad because it's a gradient and it's kind of fading into each other. But if we play around with these locations and we make them more or less like on the same number, that'll be a very distinct line, just like that. So maybe we bring it up a bit. I don't know where it's gonna look good in the end, but we'll just kind of play around for now. Then we need to choose our headline and style. We need to make that white so it's legible. And while we're at it, we'll go ahead and change the font as well, and the size. And then we'll change this to style, choose white, and typography. I might bump up the weight slightly. It's a little hard to read like that. And now the image, I'm gonna click on that and then choose image, and I'm gonna drag this one on over. Okay, so there's a few more things that I'm gonna wanna do here just to clean this up. So first of all, I want a little bit more padding on the top and bottom. So let's go ahead and do that. And we probably want a little bit of padding in this column as well, just so it kind of tightens everything up. So let's start with the section. I'm gonna click on that, advanced. Let's go ahead and do 4 on top, 4 on bottom. And then let's click inside the column, and I'm gonna go over to advanced again. Let's just play around with it and see what looks good. Cool, I like it. So I'm just gonna kind of play around with this a little bit more. I want this color line to kind of be right in the middle of our button. So I'm just gonna play around to get it right where I want it to be. Then I'm actually gonna make this button white. So let's choose the button, style. Let's make the text color primary, color white, and we'll get rid of the border. We'll say none. And then border radius, we'll zero that out. But it's a little hard to see it, right? So I'm gonna actually add a bit of a box shadow underneath it. So I'm just gonna click under box shadow right there. So now we can see it a whole lot better. Okay, then just click on update. Make sure you're always saving your work as you go. Otherwise, things could disappear on you. You don't want that. So now let's actually give a little love to our header up here. So we're gonna do this in a different way. We can't just edit it right on this page. So what we actually have to do, we're going to go up to this little, what they call the hamburger icon, then site settings, and then header. So the first thing I'm going to do, now you may do this or not, but I'm looking at the inspiration site, which it makes it feel like it's all one thing. It's got the same background color. So I'm just going to make my header the same background color under background type. Just going to choose our background beige. Now site logo. Under type, right now it's just set to the title of the website. We don't want that. We want an actual logo image. So we're going to choose that. Okay, so we're going to click on update to save those changes. Then we have to click on site identity to upload our logo. So you just click on select logo. So I'm just going to drag it over, and ideally it would be a PNG file, meaning it has a transparent background. I'm going to click on select and skip cropping. Okay, so it's there. It's very small though, so we're going to have a little bit of work to do to kind of resize that. Just click on publish and then click on the X. Okay, so now we're back. Still under site settings, let's go back to header and site logo. Now here's where we can kind of play around with the sizing of it. So something like that I think looks a lot better. So just click on update, and I'm going to go back to header, and you can change things like the gap between your logo and your menu, anything like that. And if you go down to menu, you can change the color of it. And toggle color just means whatever you click on is going to be this color. And you can change your typography as well. So let's just go ahead and make it the same font as the rest of the site, Montserrat. And then click on update. And I'm just going to click on the X to get back to the editor. So from here, what you want to do now, once you've got your homepage done, you want to do a little reality check, go down to responsive mode, and then click on the different devices like mobile and tablet. And you're just going to want to make sure that things look good and make little changes as necessary to really make things look as good on mobile devices as possible. And you can change things like font sizes. You can kind of hide things on mobile if you want to. You can change a lot of things around. For instance, right here, I'm noticing in this column, there's a lot of space on the left and not on the right. So what's going on there? We'll just go to advanced, and then padding. We can see we have all this padding on every side except for the right. So if we were just to add that in there as well, at least it looks even. And if we wanted to change this, maybe we don't want it on 4 lines, we would just click on the headline, go to style, typography, and then change that text like so. And whenever you're making a change on mobile and you can see this little mobile icon, what that tells you is you're just making this change for mobile only, and everything, all other views, like everything we did on desktop, remains unaffected. So you'll just go through the rest of it and make little tweaks as you need to, click on update. And then to get going to work on other pages, all you need to do is click on preview changes. And then you'd go on to your next page, the About Us page, for instance, and click on Edit with Elementor. And then you would go about the exact same process of tweaking, changing, customizing. And let's say you didn't even want this to be an About Us page. Maybe you want this to be your portfolio or reviews. You would just change the text, change the content, and then just click out here and exit. This will take you back out to WordPress. From there, just change this text to match. And now if you click on View Page, you can see that that menu item is changed along with it. So you can very easily change all of these pages. You don't need to go with what they've given you. But what should go on your website in the first place to be able to actually turn this into a fully automated lead generation machine for your service business? Click right here to save your seat in my free in-depth masterclass, where I'm going to help you plan out the simple yet proven site that'll more than triple your client list. Or if you just want a more in-depth step-by-step tutorial in Elementor, click this video right down here for that. Either way, I'll see you soon.